So, I've got to ask, is your reading habit, well, maybe just a little too comfortable? Be honest with yourself here. We tend to think that as long as our eyes are tracking words on a page, our brains are getting a solid workout. But here is the central mystery of today's explainer. Our cozy, everyday literary routines might actually be shortchanging our gray matter. If you've spent a lifetime reading, it's incredibly easy to slip into this frictionless rhythm. We lean on familiar genres that purely entertain us rather than challenging our actual perception of the world.
Part 1. The Comfortable Reader's Trap, Seeking Cognitive Friction. Neuroscience actually shows us that a really rigorous mental diet is absolutely crucial for brain health, and this comparison perfectly captures the trap of complacency. On one side, we've got the comfortable reader, sticking to familiar genres, enjoying that effortless flow. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but for true neurological longevity, we need to become the challenged reader. We have to inject works that actively resist access. We need to grope and clamber our way into unfamiliar territory. That means reading foreign languages, texts with really high density, historical works, or books that take formal dares. Doing this literally builds up gray matter muscle memory.
So what does this look like in the real world? Take Bren Booth-Jones, for example. He's a fluent but non-native Dutch speaker living in the Netherlands. To deliberately challenge his cognition, he didn't just read a notoriously difficult author like Franz Kafka in English. Actually, scratch that. That wouldn't be tough enough. He decided to read Kafka in a Dutch translation. This creates these incredible, multiple layers of cognitive resistance, an unfamiliar language paired with deeply complex philosophical ideas. Finding ways to add this kind of voltage to your own reading habit seriously fine-tunes your cognition.
All right, let's move on to Part 2, Breathing Together Through Books, the Social Science of Reading. Now, we usually picture reading as this totally solitary act, right? Curled up in a quiet room somewhere. But shifting reading into a social space is actually a profound defense against mental decline. The source material highlights this stunning metaphor that I just love. We usually think of a great book as something that inspires us, a word which literally means to breathe in privately. But to really protect our brain health, we need to substitute inspire with conspire. Conspire literally translates to breathing together. We've got to begin conspiring, working to plumb profound depths of understanding together with other people.
So how do we actually conspire in real life? Well, the options are honestly endless. It could be physical spaces, like the totally stunning historical Het Vera House in Rotterdam, where you might run into a fellow writer like Daniel Akabo. But hey, if you don't live in a massive cultural hub, the online world offers incredible, scientifically valid alternatives. You can join hubs like Verse, which is run by scholar Adam Walker, or Life on Books, a super inclusive book club run by Tony and Andy, or even explore Strange Lucidity, where Maria uses Patreon for these really intimate academic deep dives. Engaging actively in these communities has been proven to protect the dynamism of your brain's synapses.
Which brings us to Part 3, the Literary Memory Palace, Spatial Navigation, and the Mind. There's this really fascinating research highlighted by the BBC showing that people whose daily jobs require spatial navigation actually possess longer-lasting brain function. And guess what? We can apply that exact same spatial navigation science directly to our own homes by meticulously cataloging our personal libraries. Step 1, you build your personal canon of reference works, fiction, poetry, and philosophy. Step 2, you catalog them chronologically on your shelves. This literally forces your brain to visually trace lineages of human thought. And Step 3, you subdivide those chronologies by broad genres. Because when you organize your physical books in this highly intentional, spatial way, you are quite literally building a memory palace in your own mind. You aren't just decorating a living room, you're constellating ideas. You're creating a literal web of interconnections that spans all of intellectual history. It's like a giant puzzle for your brain. And this spatial navigation fortifies your thinking processes, helping you prolong your cognitive health for as long as humanly possible. But, we can actually take this whole concept a step further. We can move from organizing the shelves in our living rooms to organizing our own internal architecture. A hugely powerful practice for fortifying your brain is committing literature, especially poetry, to memory. When you work to memorize texts, it acts as this internal mnemonic practice. Not only does this significantly strengthen your long-term memory function, but it actually transforms those written words into internal incantations, providing immense solace and consolation during really difficult moments in life. The source material describes this so beautifully. It says, "These memorized poems beat a tattoo in your heart and in your mind." Just pause and think about that for a second. The rhythm of the words becomes a permanent, almost physical drumbeat inside of you.
It is just a profound way to ensure that the beauty of literature gives you emotional solace, all while keeping your cognitive machinery incredibly sharp.
So, this all brings us to a question that I really want to leave lingering in your mind today. How will you challenge your cognition today? Are you going to pick up a book that actively resists you? Will you join a community to conspire and breathe together with fellow readers? Or will you stand before your own bookshelf and begin building your spatial memory palace? The science is crystal clear on this. Our brains absolutely thrive on challenge, on connection, and on structure. So take a hard look at your own literary life and make the conscious choice to protect your brain's longevity today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.